Awesome. Hey guys, we have an interview with AJ and Don. They are a married couple, killing it with doing Airbnbs. So we're going to talk about their success with Airbnb, and we're going to talk about how they got started and just go over the whole process to hopefully encourage you, motivate you to get started. Me personally, Airbnb has been paying all my bills for the last like I don't know 8 years. So hopefully this inspires you guys to get started, start making offers, getting some Airbnbs under contract. So welcome AJ Don. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to do this.
Yeah, thank you,
So
Russ.
so let's get started. So let's go to so what are you guys doing in Airbnb now? What does your portfolio look like and how does your success look right now?
Yeah, so first of all, Russ, thank you for this opportunity to come and to talk to your tribe about Airbnb and our success that we found with Airbnb. I would say it's been kind of a life-changing journey for us in our business. Just to give you a little bit background on us, we started investing in real estate in 2008, right about the time that there was the market downturn. Everybody was running away from real estate at that time. Prices were plummeting. A lot of folks was upside down. We saw that as an opportunity to get started. And so we were able back then to do a lot of creative financing, subject to deals and really kind of get our business going back then. And so over the course of time, we've done uh, uh, wholesale deals. We've also done fix and flips, yes, as well as rentals. And I would say that's where we met you, Russell. I don't know what year you got started, but I knew it was back a little bit back then too, right? So
Mm.
yeah, so us
Yeah,
all, go
I
ahead.
started back in I started back when the crash happened, so about 13, maybe 14 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. It's about the same time. So I remember, looking at some of your deals and really following your journey along, parallel with our journey, right? And you just kind of took off, right? And kind of blew up. And so I've always admired your work ethic in that regard. And so fast forward to this current time, I would say what, last year, Dawn? Last year, we started looking at what other revenue streams in real estate that we could tap into. And we remembered, Russell, about 8 years ago, coming out to one of your meetings, and you were talking about Airbnb as a strategy for investment, and that was the first time we had heard of that. It was like eye-opening to us. Like you could do Airbnbs and make money, and so really just kind of leaning in a little bit to hear what you had to say around that and how you were doing it and furnishing these units and basically making above what you were paying the owners uh, as profit. I wish I would have
did it then.
Yeah,
So,
we wish we would have done it when you were teaching it because I saw your numbers. You've made $3 million on Airbnbs over the last 8 years, and so uh,
Right.
you don't see it till you see it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when I started, I had about I think at least 20 like fix and flips on the market. It could be somewhere around there. And I they're all vacant, right? They're all flips. So I was trying to sell them. So they're all vacant. They're all losing money every month. I'm not paying, I got to pay the hard money loan, taxes, insurance, utilities. So literally I was paying, I don't know, maybe 40,000 a month negative because they're all vacant, right? So
Mhm.
I had to watch a webinar. Forgot his name. I think it was Brian Page. I don't know if you heard of him. He's like the Airbnb
Yeah.
guy. So basically I saw a webinar and like, hey, you can Airbnb houses, and I'm thinking like, hey, I got all these houses and they're vacant, they're all losing money. So I started with one. They're already staged, so all the properties were staged. So all I had to really do was get all the, towels and all the little stuff to live there. So I started with one, and all of a sudden it got booked every weekend for the next like month or two. And all of a sudden I realized like, okay, I can keep it for sale on the market. At the same time, all my taxes are getting paid, my loans getting paid, my utilities are getting paid, and I keep it. And I'm on top of that, I'm making a little bit of money on top of that. So when you're doing a fix and flip, it's like, you have a break even amount of let's say 200,000. Every month that you don't sell, your break even goes to 203, 206, 209. And then when you effectively Airbnb it, it turns around. Like if you're making 1,000 a month, it goes down now. So every month my break even is 199, 198. So you don't really care if it sells or not because you're making money while it's for sale, right?
Right.
So and that's when I like, okay, I'm gonna Airbnb all my properties. So, so I turned all my fix and flips into Airbnbs, and then that led into starting to do rent to owns, and then Airbnb, and then managing for other people. So, that's how I got started in the Airbnb business model. Just watching a webinar and just like, man. So I literally went from negative 40,000 a month to I think a positive 15, 20,000 a month in the next like 2 or 3 months just
Wow.
from one strategy. So it was a swing of maybe close to 50,000 a month
Mm.
in my pocket. That I wasn't negative, but I had a profit. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I got started.
That's crazy and ingenious all at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really, you're a pioneer in that space because we're connected to a network of investors in Chicago, and a lot of them are really since maybe last year getting turned on to Airbnb as a
Mhm,
strategy,
mhm.
and they're really trying to figure it out. And so, what we did last year, we decided to start our business, and so part of it was one, we decided that we were going to, well, really just defining what we were focusing in on. And we decided to focus in on Class A assets and rental arbitrage as a strategy. And then
Awesome.
secondly, we said that we wanted to host for other investors because, like I said, we know so many that are trying to get in the game and figure it out. We said, well, why not, use our expertise as we're building to kind of help them, by managing their property and also making money with that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So what got you started with Airbnb exactly? Like when did you first how did you get first started?
Yeah. So, you want to talk about it?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we heard you talk about it. First of all, I remember my husband coming to me, after we had taken a few other investment classes, and he was like, "Well, I heard Russell talk about Airbnb." I was like, no, I don't know. I don't think we should. We're already, we know subject to, we know wholesaling, Airbnb is different. He was like, no, Russell says he's making money in it, and I trust him. And so from there, I trust my husband. And so we went on and we, proceeded. And our first one was actually a co-host property, that we did. And we were able to see it work before we actually, went and did the
Yeah.
arbitrage piece. Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
first one was a co-host. So you didn't invest any money, you didn't get
Mm.
your credit check, you didn't
Yep.
none of that.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
charged 10% because I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh,
So
that's good. Good
yeah, I
idea.
was so
Think
happy for the
about it. Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But then
so
when
that's
we saw
awesome.
real, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you were getting paid every week, right?
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So so when once you realize like okay this works, like how did you find that first co-host deal? Like what did you do to find that first deal to break into Airbnb?
Yeah. So again, as an investor, we stay connected to several networks in Chicago. When we just went there and started telling everybody that's what we did, and because there's such a high interest now, there were a couple of people say, "Hey, we'd love to meet with you guys, talk about what you do." And it was funny getting started because we didn't have anything to show, right? So people are like, "Oh, you're hosting, what can I look at what you're doing, on Airbnb? Give me your host profile." We're like, "Well, we don't have anything yet, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
So finally, somebody decided to give us a chance. They allowed it, and we offered this. I think the industry stands about 20% of the monthly intake. We offered 10% just to get started.
That's a
Once
good
we got,
idea.
yeah, once we got that first one, we were rolling.
That's awesome. And so what happened after that? How did you find how many do you have now currently, like total?
Yeah, so we have right now
Mhm.
six that we're hosting for
Okay.
other investors, and then we have about eight that are our
Ours.
properties, that we
So you
acquired.
have 14 Airbnbs total.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome,
I'm
awesome.
sorry, we actually have 15. So we have
Okay.
six we're hosting and then nine on our own.
Oh, you guys are rock stars.
Yeah. And
Great
that's
job.
within, we started it, believe it or not, just
Hmm.
March of this year. So, in less than, 9 months or so, this is what we've achieved.
Oh, the first co-host deal was only 9 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
March of this year,
Wow.
maybe
So
even April. Yeah.
that was a quick that was a very quick
Yeah.
quick quick incline of revenue. So what does it look like a year ago as far as like cash flow coming in versus now? Like how are you guys like how much are you making, how much are you making now for 9 months later, like in
Yeah.
profit?
Yeah, I was just looking at my year-to-date summary here. And so we've grossed since March 127,000, almost 128,000 on the platform. This month alone, this is what we call a down month, and it's so far we've made 13,000, and we have 9,000 upcoming. Looking at last month, October, we made 25,000 gross. November was like October was 27,000 and November was 25,000. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's been pretty lucrative.
Awesome, awesome. And you can't wait for the summer months, right?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Man, summer we're gonna kill it.
You gotta save until summer. I always tell the owners like, man, you gotta, you know, just work it out through the winter, January, February. Once March hits, it gets a little better, and then April, May, June, you're gonna be happy, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is so
we're
true.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah.
I just read a report from AirDNA this morning. They said that they're expecting 2024 to be a great year for short-term and mid-term rentals. So
That's awesome. So where are you getting these so did you start with your own property after the first deal you co-hosted? The second deal was a co-host or was that like one of your own properties you started with?
yeah, the second deal, the next two deals,
For co-host.
they were co-hosts,
Mhm.
and then the third and fourth deal were our own deals that we acquired through rental arbitrage.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the co-host deals, how did you find the next two? Like where'd you find them? How'd you get that lead? How'd you close it? How'd you negotiate it? You know, that's
Yes,
what
yes. Those second and third co-host deals. One was with the original person, another one that they had. So we're hosting two for them, and then there's word of mouth referrals, right? So they started talking about how they were making great, income with us. For example, they had a house in Bolingbrook that normally would have rent for 2,000. The first month we put it on Airbnb, they made like $6,500. So, they're like, wow, we 3x'd, our income. Uh,
yeah.
so they just start talking, right? Success speaks. And so they start telling everybody about it, and people start saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you all. Heard what you're doing over there for them. We want to talk. So that's where the next one came from. And then from there, we was like, okay, we need to start, getting our own so we could capitalize on that 3x return. And so we started doing some research and decided if we want to scale fast, that rental arbitrage was a great strategy.
So the next deals, did you still do the 10% or now you increased it to the 20% or what was the breakdown for the next one?
Yeah. So depending on how the person finds us, we'll give them 15%. So, and then other people, we're at 20 now. So no more 10%.
Gotcha. It's too much work for 10%, right?
Yes, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm serious about the work. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is a lot of work, especially like the initial setup.
Mhm.
But we'll talk about the systems later. But once you get it into like your system, it can you like for me to manage an Airbnb, it maybe takes me like less than an hour a week, for a property. So
Mhm.
we're gonna talk about the system shortly, but I want to talk about the rental arbitrage. So you got your leads from referrals. You're probably going to maybe you said you're a part of like real estate groups, networking meetings, and stuff like that. So that's probably where you got your initial leads from.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. So, I'm also a part of another group of multifamily investors, right? So
Mhm.
they have multiple doors, mostly Class B, Class C assets, but there are some that have Class A. Now, for those who don't know, Class A are like your top apartments, right? They have all of the amenities, they're in great locations. So, they have pools,
Cool.
fitness centers, everything is either brand new or has been rehabbed to that type of quality. And so we want to really leverage those assets because of the fact that they're Class A and they're more attractive and locations are great. And it's still even in this game, it's still about location, right? And so
Yeah.
Yep. So what we did was start tapping into that network. I reached out to a couple of those investors, met with them, talked about what we had to offer, and then fortunately we had one of our a gentleman that we know down in Texas who had a couple properties, and he allowed us to come in and get a unit of 2 properties down in Spring, Texas, and Houston, Texas, and
Oh,
then
wow, so you're doing it virtually now.
yeah, we're actually in
Texas,
Texas,
Arkansas.
Arkansas, and Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, did you ever go to those properties in Texas and Arkansas and look at them, or
Oh
you
yeah, yeah.
went? Okay, awesome.
We visit them, you know, maybe every 3 months we visit them.
Yeah. Initially, we went down there. We did some research. We used a tool called AirDNA, which give you market information and analysis. And so we used AirDNA as well as Airbnb's platform to do some research to find out if those were viable markets, and
Yeah,
they looked pretty good.
that's awesome, man. And I have properties that I virtually manage. I never stepped foot into them at all. So, but
Yeah.
that's good that you went out there to go look at it and all that. I
Yeah.
recommend that, not what I do.
Yeah. You can do it either way, you know,
Yeah.
your cleaner is everything. So yeah.
Yeah, once we put eyes on them, we go out, we make sure they're staged properly, because one of our competitive advantages is that we our design aesthetic is is not high end, but it has a high end look to all of our properties and feel. You
Yeah,
know, some people do like basic stuff, but we really put a lot into it on the front end in design aesthetic.
yeah. And I gotta start doing that here out here. I moved to Polk County, Florida over here near Tampa and Orlando. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna start doing what you guys are doing, where go to the meetings and talk with people and try to sit down with landlords and do a management deal with them. So I gotta start
Yeah,
doing.
Yeah.
You got
they're
to give me
looking for
some.
help. They're definitely looking for
Yeah.
help.
And they get really excited, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman now, he's looking to build a portfolio of 50 of them in the Chicago market, and he wants us to manage all of them. So we're in the process of talking through what that's like.
Yeah, there's a lot of investors that are they build new construction to do Airbnb, like out here in Florida. So I just gotta find those guys and sit down with them, like you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys got those leads. So the next thing is you went on now to you're doing rental arbitrage. So what that means is you're renting from the landlord, and then you're turning around and Airbnb-ing it, and you're making a profit on top. So how did you find those deals? Is it a straight lease, or how long is first of all, like how long is the lease? Is it like a year, 2 years,
Yeah, so we go in we usually ask for a 2 to 3 year lease. And the only reason why we ask for it really is for it's an advantage to the owner of the property to have that long-term lease. It looks good on paper for him with his investors. We would prefer a 12-month term because that gives us the ability and flexibility to get out. So we ended up, and we really allowed the property manager and the owner to determine that, if they say yes, but they don't want to do a 2, 3 year lease, that's fine with us, right? So all of our leases right now are 12-month leases. And we do exactly what you said. Rental arbitrage is that you rent the property, you have a lease on it, but then you have the ability to sublease or rent it out. And so, and with that, we ask specifically for permission to do it on platforms like Airbnb, Verbal, etc. And given that permission, we can market the property on those platforms. So anything above rent and expenses is profit for us.
Awesome. And where did you find those leads? The same way, or how did you
Yeah,
find
yeah. So our friend who had the ones in Texas, he said, "Hey, I got some Class A properties in Arkansas. I would love for you guys to go take a look at." So we flew to Arkansas, looked at his property there, and
Awesome.
while there, we were meeting with his property manager of that asset, and he said, "I love what you guys do as far as design." He said, "I have people approach me, they want to just throw a bed in there and, put it out there." And he said, "No, my assets are Class A. I want even the short-term rentals to represent that." He said, "I love what you guys are doing. I have some other properties," right? So he invited us to the other side of town, another Class A asset. We went and looked at that one, and we were able to get in that one. And from there, he wants to take us to some other assets that he have in Oklahoma. So now it's more or less that word of mouth, that those connections, that network is just starting to help us Yeah.
definitely some God opportunities in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but
That's exciting.
that's
The whole
not
United States is open to you, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then down in Texas, we're in the Houston market, but they've already said, hey, we want to look at maybe having you guys come to some assets we got in Dallas. So, it's starting to kind of snowball.
Yeah. Now, did you ever look into offering like a rent? You have the lease agreement, but with an option to buy? Like, did you ever offer that to
No,
the
well, we're not, but that's a strategy we're looking at for, as we kind of market to find property to buy.
yeah,
And I know you teach that. And so I'm really going to be, leaning into you for that. So with these assets, they're just rentals, they're apartments,
rentals? Yeah.
there's no opportunity to buy them.
Yeah.
But as we kind of reach out to people who have single family homes, that
Mhm.
is a strategy that we want to kind of lead with.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, rent to own is like you now control the equity, for the next whatever you negotiate. So at the end of the 2 3 years, whatever you negotiate, you can buy it, you can refinance it, buy it, you can sell it if there's enough equity. You can rent to own it to somebody else if the Airbnb is maybe not working, right? But
Mhm.
Mhm.
but that's awesome, man. So you have 15 deals total. So the majority of the deals came all the same way through your
Yeah.
networking meetings, through just referrals. Like there was no really like paid marketing or anything going on like that, or
No, but what we've been doing and will continue to do next year is that we've identified certain areas that we want to acquire more, like here in the Chicago area. We've identified some areas. So we're looking, this is for the apartment arbitrage strategy. And so with that, there's no really paid advertising you have to do. You just got to call those properties, get a meeting with the property manager, and then kind of present, what our business model and business plan is to them from there.
We have
awesome.
a whole script that we talk to property managers and, kind of,
Yeah,
a PowerPoint presentation of what we offer and why it's an advantage, to go with us and things like that.
that's awesome. So you paid zero for finding all these deals, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's zero.
Yeah.
So that's what if you're new, like that's what you gotta do. You gotta go to all the real estate meetings and network. Like
Yeah.
that's what I did when I started too.
Yeah.
I literally went to every single real estate meeting I can go to, and I would try to meet as many people as possible. I would go early so I can meet as many people as possible, and I would stay late so I can, get as many cards, talk to as many people as possible, and just get on the phone with them. Just be like, hey, how can I, what are you doing in your business? Let's see if there's a way I can provide service to you. I can help you. And a lot of these guys at these real estate meetings are fix and flippers, landlords, and
Mhm.
and a lot of them are going to say, yeah, well, if you can make me more money and I don't have to do more work and you manage everything, let's do it, right? So,
Yeah.
that's awesome, yeah. So, for anyone new that's getting started, is looking for the first Airbnb, I recommend doing exactly what you guys are doing. On top of calling, all the for rent leads on Zillow, they're all landlords. So do that and also go to all these networking real estate meetings that you can find and just sit down with them and see how you can provide service to what they're already doing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's real. Those opportunities are real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's half the battle. One, if you find a lead on Zillow, I mean, you go in the for rents. I mean, they're already open to renting it.
Exactly, yeah. So
So you
so
don't have
you
to
just gotta yeah, you just gotta convince them, hey, to Airbnb. Like, how are you approaching it? Are you like saying, oh, we're gonna Airbnb your property and we're gonna make a lot of money off of you? Like,
We're very,
what are
we're
you telling the
honest.
owner exactly?
Yeah.
But
So we go in and we present ourselves as a corporate housing company because that's pretty much what we're doing. That's our main strategy is to find someone, a traveling medical professional or a person who's traveling for work, to put them in on what we call a midterm lease, 30 days or more. And then we also say, but we, in between those stays, we will put the property on Airbnb, because our job is to keep the cash flow coming in. So we use those short-term platforms as a strategy along with our midterm strategy. So
Awesome. So you're wording it to the owners, you're doing a corporate lease and you're basically, you use all the different platforms to get the property rented out. Um, So how we word it is like we we have clients mainly all our clients come from out of town. Like we don't as I don't know if you guys do that as well personally, but
Mhm.
usually all of our Airbnb guests are from out of town. So that's how we word it with the owners. Like, hey, we have out of town guests that are basically coming from out of town. They stay for 3 or 4 nights. Mostly, most of our guests, could be business clients. We also use platforms like Airbnb, VRBO as well to get the property. So that's kind of exactly like how I word it. And
Yeah.
if they're okay with that, we move forward with running the numbers. If they're not, we just, we don't run the numbers on it. Right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same here, and it's unfortunate, the media, they always highlighting all the bad stuff that happened at Airbnbs. And so those negative connotations sometimes get in people's mind. So you just got to be tactful in how you present it to them and explain it, such as how you do it and how we do it.
Yeah. And be
Yeah,
willing to deal with the objections, that come when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
exactly. So now, we know how to find the leads. So now you have to get the property on Airbnb, get it listed, get it staged, decorated, all that stuff. So as soon as are you guys using like a property management contract to get signed, or what do you use exactly?
Yeah. So once we get our lease signed, for the property, now, we can move forward. Of course, we have an addendum
Yeah.
to their lease. So we sign their lease, and then we have our addendum, which
Mhm.
have them sign that gives us the right to operate our business model.
So you
Uh,
have two agreements. You have the lease with the addendum, and then you also have the co-hosting agreement, which is like a kind of like a
yes,
partnership with the owner. So these are
two
two
separate
separate
agreements, right? So on the arbitrage side, we signed their lease with our addendum. When we're co-hosting for somebody, we have a co-host agreement, which spells out what the owner is responsible for and what we are responsible for as the host. And so they sign that agreement.
That's awesome. And so before you so you have an owner that raises their hand and say, yeah, I'm interested. So what do you do exactly when you have an owner interested? How are you analyzing the deal, running the numbers? Like what tools are you using? Maybe websites are you using to get like an estimate on what you believe kind of revenue can come in for the owner and for the
Yeah,
seller.
so mainly four different platforms. One, I'd say the main one would be AirDNA, which allow us to analyze markets and submarkets, and they'll give you an overall score of how that market is performing. Is the revenue going up or down? What the occupancy percentage look like in those markets, and then you can even break it down even further and look at like properties and compare their prices, their occupancy rates, and really see what the trends look like. So that's one of the main. Another one is called Match Advisor. Match Advisor kind of give you the same type of data. And then we go on Airbnb as well, because you could go and just put a address in there, how many bedrooms we put in there. We want the calendar to be flexible. And then once we get those properties, now we could drill down even further with the filters on Airbnb, find like properties, bedrooms, baths, that sort of thing. Like for like apartments versus houses. So then we
Yeah,
narrow it down even further, and then we're able to click into and see, okay, first what they look like, what kind of amenities they have, what the pricing looks like on them. And then we can look at their calendar and see if they're getting booked, because
exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah.
important.
Yeah, that's
So
yeah.
Yeah.
That exactly. I don't use Match Advisor. I never use that, so that's the first time I heard of that one. But yeah, I do use AirDNA, and yeah, like you said, the best thing is to pretend you're booking a property that you're a guest, and then look at all the comps nearby. Because in Airbnb, you can zoom in on the map and get really close and find the same exact bedrooms and bathrooms, and try
yeah,
to match the same property, and then you can see every single night how much you're getting booked. You can see how many bookings I have this month, next month, so you can see how hot it is, right? So what I do is if I look at the calendar and they're like fully booked, I know their price too low, so I can
right,
go higher, right? And then if
yeah,
I look at another calendar and they have really no bookings, and I know they're probably priced too high, so I'm kind of got to be below them, right?
right,
So
exactly.
try to get like 3, 4 comps and then look at their calendars and then when we negotiate with the owner, I'm sending them these comps saying, hey, this is, these are the ones nearby. So exactly how I'm analyzing the deal, I'm sending everything to the owner as an open book and say, here's the numbers, right? So
Yeah,
Mhm.
unless
that's what we do for the
unless
folks
you're
that we,
doing rental arbitrage, you probably don't want to tell him all the
right.
numbers.
No.
For the people we're hosting for, we do that. We
Yeah.
send them
As a
that.
co-host, yeah, you probably want to send all the numbers, say, hey, you can make this much, I take 20%,
Yeah,
but as a rental
exactly.
arbitrage, you just want to show them your reputation, say, hey, look, we
Right.
have reviews, we have a lot of listings already, we're doing a great job. Maybe give them the owner's phone numbers that they can call, that you're hosting already and for reference, right? But you
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably don't want to show them like, hey, I'm gonna make 5,000 a month.
Right.
No,
Surprisingly enough, though, they don't want to do the Airbnb portion because it's too much. The actual one
Yeah,
property that we're in told us that they did try it before they let us in, and that it was way too much and way over, too overwhelming. So
yeah,
they were looking, but people kept pursuing them in that way. They were like, "Hey, we have clients that keep coming here asking, can we rent for a month or two, and we don't offer that product." So we wanted to offer that product, but we didn't want to deal with the hassle of, dealing with the day-to-day of it.
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of landlords that try to do everything themselves. They try to be the cleaner, the maintenance guy, meet the guests at the property, give them the key, and it's like it's too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they give up because they don't have any systems. They don't even have like a pricing software that changes the prices, right? So
right.
Yeah.
that's what I want to talk about next is so what do you guys do? So you got the contract signed, so the next step is now you got to stage it. What does that process look like of getting all the furniture? Do you have a furniture source where you're getting all you're buying the furniture? Or are you renting the furniture? So what does it look like for you guys?
Go.
Well, this is my favorite part, but we do have a furniture source in Chicago. We actually learned to get furniture sources in each state that we're in. We find very good prices on furniture and we get it delivered. And some of the areas that we get delivered in, we have to have a person that comes to assemble the furniture too, as well, because of the wholesale prices that we get on the furniture. So in Illinois, we have a furniture company called Baxton. They're a great furniture company. And we normally though have to get somebody to build the furniture, but it's still cheaper than having it.
Now,
And
is
then
it brand new furniture or you used
Oh,
to?
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
It's branded for they actually sell to Ashley and other furniture stores. They're a wholesale furniture company.
yeah, and then we use for used furniture, we go to like Court Furniture
Mhm.
Outlet here in Batavia, I believe. So we get pieces
Yeah,
from uh
that's who I use, Court. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you
They,
can or buy. You buy at the outlet or you can rent from their retails.
yeah, yeah. So Baxton. So yeah, I haven't heard of them, but
Oh, check them out. They're awesome.
yeah,
They offer good discounts too.
Yeah.
yeah.
All the time, like 30% off.
Of their already low prices. So
Yeah, I remember we would always buy Court, and we can get like a full single family 3 bed 2 bath, like fully furnished with every bedroom, every dining room, kitchen, and
Yeah.
they deliver it and set it up
that's
like all
true.
at the same price, and we were
Yeah.
paying maybe 5,000, and the whole house was with nice
Mhm.
furniture. It's used, but they refurbished it and it looks brand new, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I love Court. We do use them a lot. They're nationwide too. So
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they
do
are.
do you find them in Texas and Arkansas too?
We found them in Texas, not in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
gotcha.
The closest court in Arkansas was Oklahoma. It was about 3 hours away. So we wasn't doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So are you guys using are you staging it yourself or are you hiring a staging professional or are you guys a professional yourself?
Yeah, so my wife is a short-term rental stylist. She's certified in it. And so we go in and we stage them, we set them up. So we come out, we meet, we have a design plan. Usually we're going to do some painting, we want to do a feature wall. We talk about what the theme is going to look like, and so she comes up with an entire plan on how we're going to actually approach that unit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Certified.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's my favorite part of the business right there. But I love it all. That
Yeah,
and,
she
and
gets she
customer
gets a
service.
shop and spend a lot of money.
Within reason.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We we um we use a lot of like we use a lot of like cheap, like Goodwill, for example. Like if you're on a budget, you can
Yes.
get tons of really good furniture,
Yeah.
decoration stuff
Mhm.
for pennies, So we when we were staging our houses, we did do a lot of that where, if you're trying to be on a certain budget. But I guess if
Mhm.
you're in a luxury, area, you probably want everything high end, it depends on the property, right? Like where is it located and
What
the
my wife has
comps.
got really good at is finding things that look high end but are actually cheap.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Will is one of my stores. So, so
yeah.
yeah.
So I always say go based upon the comps, like if they're like super high end, you gotta match them, right? So,
yeah, that's
and
true.
if the comps are, you don't want to overdo it
Right.
as well, right? So
Mhm.
that's awesome. So after you get a stage, you get everything ready to go. Like, so what is the process as far as like cleaners? Are you hiring cleaners in the area? Are you going to fly out there yourself and do the cleaning?
No, absolutely not.
No, no, no.
So even with the staging, we hire a team, to come in whatever state we're in, we hire a team to help us. And
Awesome.
then as far as cleaning, we use Turno, the Turno app. Are you familiar with that?
Turnover or Turno?
Turno.
Turno. No, I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'll
Yeah.
let my husband explain.
It used to be called Turnover B&B. They changed
Yeah,
it.
turnover, yeah.
Yeah. So we go out there, we put our property. What it is, it's an online platform. It's a marketplace for cleaners. So all of these cleaners, they have their profiles. You as a person looking for service, to go out there and list your property. So we'll go put our unit out there, our property out there, and they bid on it. So they'll let us know what it would cost based upon bedrooms, baths, and square footage. They let us know what their price is. So you'll get bids anywhere. I mean, it could be a wide range. Somebody might be willing to do it for $50, somebody $150,
150, yeah.
right? And the great thing about Turno is that they allow you to see their ratings because it's a rating system in there. So you can see,
Oh,
we tend to try to pick people 5-star or close to 5-star and see how they've done for other people. And then usually we narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3. And from there, we pick somebody.
And then we have a backup too. So you can create a team internal. So the person you pick, and then you can have a backup cleaner just in case
oh,
that cleaner
Yeah.
is not available. Yeah.
Your cleaner is probably the most critical person on your
yes.
team.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they got to get in there after every guest, make sure they are cleaning it. They got to report back to us the condition. If anything's broken, need to be replaced,
Yeah.
repaired. And so they got to do a great job. That you got to be able to trust them. And I mean, they're a huge part of the team.
Yeah. And we have a checklist in there. How many points?
Yeah, we have a 75-point checklist, and Turner will allow you to create that checklist. So they have to go through our checklist. So, we want to make sure they don't miss nothing. They're moving fast a lot of times. Go through the checklist, they check it off, and at certain points they have to upload pictures as well, so we can see what's going on. Especially being in other states, they are our eyes. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
N-
They're the MVP pretty much. They're
Yes, yes.
yeah.
And I try to build a really great relationship with them. So, I talk to them, interview with them, see how things are going. I talk to them, try to talk to them on a weekly basis, and,
Yeah.
to build rapport and relationship.
Yeah, when I started the Airbnbs, I actually like employed I think 5 of my family members to clean full time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like quit their jobs and moved in the Chicago area, and then they
oh
just
wow,
Oh, wow.
cleaned full time for many years. Yeah, so
Mm.
yeah, we want to get to that level where we can hire our own staff.
Yeah.
but yeah, turnover is good. We use like if we're going to a different area where we don't have a cleaner yet, we'll use like TaskRabbit
Mm.
and find cleaners on there, and they're rated. Same thing, they're rating. They have lots of ratings and stuff like that. So same thing with handyman. How do you guys find your handyman? Your
Same thing. Thumbtack.
Thumbtack, TaskRabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll find handyman people to come install stuff
Mhm.
for us, put the furniture together. That's
Yeah.
usually find them on those
Yeah.
platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome that for example, TaskRabbit, we can literally they'll do any task you can think of, and you can hire them and they can come today in the next 5 hours, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy, right?
Mhm.
So you have your cleaner in place, your handyman. These are your basically your key players, your MVPs that are going to be managing the property. You're not going, are you going there all the time and like looking at
No.
everything or?
But with rental arbitrage, they already have their own maintenance. So we
Yeah,
just put in a ticket.
Yeah,
So
that's the great thing about
yeah.
rental arbitrage. Anything and everything that go wrong in that unit, we open up a ticket
Yeah.
and they handle it.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And for our co-hosts,
Yeah.
you know, those are single families, so we definitely have to have that maintenance team or person available.
Yeah.
Yeah, never, yeah. For someone getting started in Airbnb, I would never clean it myself or try to maintain it myself just to save a couple dollars. That's
Yeah,
just,
Oh,
no,
no.
too critical.
No,
yeah, much
you
work.
know, you want to manage the business and have those systems in place, you know, and so yeah, so once we have those folks on the team, so now it's time to build it out and go live on the platform. So we have what's called the property management software that we use. And so because we have multiple properties, it's critical and we're multi-platform, right? And what that means is we're not just on Airbnb, we're on Verbal, Booking.com, and several other. I think we on some instances we're on up to 14 different platforms. So all of them have calendars, all of them are potential places where people could book the property. So we need a multi-calendar feature that will look at all of those calendars and be able to give us one calendar so we can see where all of our bookings are coming from and there's no overlap or conflicts. So
Right.
we use the property management system for that.
What's the name of the property management system you use?
Hostfully.
Hostly. Okay.
Yep.
Hostfully. Like
Host
Full.
FU. Oh,
Host. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
I
but
honestly only use Airbnb, and the reason for that is because I just had bad experience with Booking.com and Vrbo.
oh
I
wow.
I literally had it happened multiple times
Mm.
and it was like someone booked, they got approved, they got charged. Now they're in my property for 2 days, 3 days, and then I get a message from Booking.com saying that their card was fraudulent and now they're in my property.
Mm.
One of them actually stole like everything, like in the
Oh,
property, like TVs, like everything. It was crazy. So, and it happened multiple times on Vrbo and Booking.com. So I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna use Airbnb, and I just stuck with Airbnb. I haven't used any different platforms actually at all, for many years. So, but if it's working for you, that's great with Vrbo and Booking.com. But for me, I'm like, I don't
yeah,
well, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever experienced that. It doesn't sound like you have, but for me,
I pray
like,
not.
it happened like at least 4 or 5 times. And I'm like,
Oh.
if it happens once, okay. But
Mm.
happening 4 or 5 times where you got approved and they turn around and say it was fraud, and it really was fraud. It really wasn't the person with the card. And
Oh.
yeah.
and I never had that problem with Airbnb where they have a really good background check and all that stuff. So if there is fraud on Airbnb, they catch it like right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues. You know, we do have some safeguards in place. You know, we're the merchant on record. If we don't get an approval up front, then they can't come. And because we have people that have paid and the card will through Stripe. We use Stripe as our merchant account. And if Stripe doesn't approve the payment, then you know we don't allow them to come. The other thing is that there's a service out there called Safely. It's an insurance service for short-term renters. And with that service, they'll do background checks as well. And so they have a scoring system and a risk score to let you know if this person might be potential fraud or somebody, if they had other issues, they've done it in the past. So we
Yeah,
Safely as well.
Yeah, they do background checks and everything, even out of country background checks.
awesome. Now you guys getting your own insurance, Airbnb insurance on top of the insurance already, or
Yes.
how you guys doing that?
Yeah. So for Airbnb, I mean, they have their air cover, their $1 million policy. Now, for us as a company, we have a $1 million, or actually a $2 million policy, umbrella policy that protects us for all liability, errors and omissions, if there be any type of fair health and credit issues that pop up. We have that to protect our company. Then we use Airbnb's air cover. Vrbo has $1 million liability policy as well. And then for the other platforms, we use Safely, right? So we make sure we have insurance in play for wherever they. Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you guys doing any direct bookings off of platforms, or is everything on
Yes.
platform?
We have a direct booking site as well, you
Direct
know,
book.
but we don't shake the Airbnb relationship because sometimes people come through the platform and say, hey, do you have a direct booking platform? And we always say no to that at that point because we don't want to mess up the Airbnb
Yeah,
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
So we're building strategy around that, Russell, right now. So there are some like with your internet services, there's a company that allow you that when they log on your Wi-Fi, it'll capture their contact information, like email addresses, phone number. You can ask for that when they log on the Wi-Fi, like when you go stay at a hotel and they have the splash page come up, right? So once we get that information, we're going to set up an email follow-up where we say, hey, if you come back, here's our direct link. You could book direct with us, or if you want to refer other people to use us when they're traveling. So that's part of our strategy going into 2024.
It's awesome. Awesome. So are you guys using like so you guys are using you said Hostfully for your management? Is that
Mhm.
also using like AI technology for responding? Like is there any automation with check in, check out, responses, stuff like that? Like how are you guys doing that?
Yeah, so exactly that. It has the guest management portion where we set up automation and triggers that'll send check-in instructions, check-out instructions. In the middle of their stay, we'll automatically send a message that, hey, how you doing? Just checking in on you, let us know how it's going. And then even after they leave, we follow up with them 2 or 3 times to get them to leave us a review, right? Because the goal is to try to capture those 5-star reviews. Dawn is the host. She's a super host. And so we definitely want to maintain that super host status with Airbnb. You got to be at least a 4.8 or higher in your
Yeah.
reviews. And so, yeah, so using that, it really helps automate the guest communication. We have the ability through their app to see when guests have questions, and then her or I or somebody else on our team will respond to those questions as well.
Awesome.
We also use a system called Jarvis, which changes the lock codes for us, on all of locks, and then it integrates into the messaging system that we send out.
Awesome. So are you guys using like a smart keypads that are connected to the Jarvis? Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's awesome. So Jarvis, JARBIS.com, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. I use hospitable.com. It's like sounds like the same as far as triggers and like for example, like we have guests that we never communicate with. It's only like the robot, the AI robot that just sends them everything. And if they have a specific question, like, hey, where's the parking? The robot knows the answer to that question for that booking and it responds with a certain message. So that's awesome. Are you guys using like pricing softwares? Like what are you using for changing the pricing on the properties?
Yeah, we are. So we use
Price Lab.
Price Labs for the dynamic pricing.
Oh,
So what that
you
means
use
is
that too.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's looking at the market, looking at the demand,
The health.
the events that's happening in the area, and it's adjusting the prices dynamically without us having to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you guys adjusting it like once a week at least, or what are you how are you guys managing your pricing?
Yeah, so I go in and look at it probably once a week, and of course, I have the ability to override. Like if I think it's too low, I allow Price Labs to do its thing, but I'm keeping my eye and my pulse on it, and I'm like, well, they might be factoring in some other things, but I know I should be getting this, and then you can also set a minimum price where you say, okay, I don't care how the market look, I don't want to go below this, right? So I have that for some of mine. Of course, it's slow as right now, Russell. So prices are down, and
Yeah.
so we're just trying to, like you said, get through these winter months.
When March comes, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use Price Labs too. So what I do is like once a week, it takes a few minutes. If I see 50% booked for the next 30 days, I'll raise the price by 10%. If I see it under 50%, I'm gonna lower it by 50%. I just do that every week and it takes like a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes for all the properties, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have a customization where, hey, if the next 10 days are not booked, discount it by 40%, 50%. So you can do customizations like any type of customization you want, you can put it in there, which is pretty cool for Price Labs. Yeah.
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 And I don't know if you noticed, but they have something now called Market Dashboard, where you could go in and it'll give you a full market report. If you're looking at an area you know might want
Yeah.
to invest. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
well, I'm looking at the market and the comparables and all that stuff.
yeah.
But that's very important. Like the pricing needs, like when I started, I didn't know about all the software and all that stuff. So I just priced it $100 a night or 200 a night every night, right? That's when I
Yeah.
started. And I realized like, man, I'm losing a ton of money because the same property that in wintertime gets you 2,000, if you adjust the price in the summertime, that can get you up to 8,000, right? If you
Mhm.
adjust the price correctly, right? The
Right.
maximum profit.
Yeah.
So I always
And
tell
it
owners,
also helps you too. I don't know if you was aware of this too, but the dynamic pricing, changing the pricing to the algorithm on Airbnb, it sees it as you're active host, you're actively managing it. So they'll give you better rate boost in terms of the algorithm. So more people will see your property. If you set that static price and it doesn't change, Airbnb look at it as, well, this is somebody who's not managing actively, and then they don't give you that boost.
yeah, yeah, they change the price every day, so it adjusts, yeah. So they see that
Yeah.
you're actively managing it, yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So yeah, so this whole like a lot of people that maybe never done Airbnb and we're talking about all these systems and this could be kind of overwhelming for people that has never gotten started.
Yeah.
So how hard is it really to connect the Airbnb to the management software and the pricing software so that everything is like automated? How long does it take you?
Yeah, our onboarding with Hostfully, I think it was over a 2 month period. It took
Yeah,
about 2 months.
that particular
Yeah.
software, yeah.
So they gave us a customer success manager who helped us get everything set up. And of course, the more properties you have, the more platforms you're on, the longer that is if you only have like a couple properties. If you only have one property, I would recommend just manage it on the platform, right? You don't need all them systems and softwares to a certain extent, right? You still got to find out, understand how you're going to get it clean. You can still use Turnal to search the marketplace and find your cleaner and manage that relationship, but you don't need like a property management software
Right.
because I would say once you kind of get, 3 or 4, now you need something to help you manage all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But after being in the software and learning it with our, manager, it's not too hard. The day-to-day is not too hard. And
Yeah.
and that not being either one of our backgrounds, and just coming on the platform, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it
Not
was difficult.
overwhelming. It's
No.
a lot of
So
pieces to the
Yeah.
puzzle. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of pieces. Yeah, like for example, when you get it, like if I got a new property today, it'd probably take me 30 minutes to get it set up with all
Yeah.
the description and
Yep.
get it connected to the different softwares with the pricing.
Mhm.
So once it's set up, it's simple. But the hard part is getting it the first setup, right?
Yeah.
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 The onboarding, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awesome. So how are you guys uh like with these rental arbitrages as far as like for the future, are you going to like extend the leases after 12 months? Are you gonna, give them more rent? Like what's your plan? Like how are you talking with the owner as far as when the 12 months ends? So for future deals.
Yeah, so we're looking to renew our leases. All of our properties are performing above market, at market or above. So we're doing pretty good. We're always optimizing and tweaking to improve the performances. So with that, you increase your revenue and your bookings and your revenues. So as long as they're performing well, we have a minimum revenue goal, of $1,000 a month over our expenses. So sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't, sometimes you exceed it. You'll blow it out the water, right? So if we average that across our portfolio, we're good, right? So we'll continue to renew those leases, and because our ultimate goal is for those property managers to say, "Hey, AJ and Don, we love this. You guys have been great for us. We want to give you more units. We have other assets in, other markets that we want you to take a look at,
Yeah.
right?" So, yeah,
Yeah.
our goal is to continue to build our portfolio. We want to get to 50 and 100, So,
A strategy I used to do for try to get the long-term rent. Like we had a rent to own for like 7 years, right? And so the strategy I used to do that was the agreement would say, hey, at the end of a year, we're increased the rent by 3% every year, right?
Mhm.
So, and but I also have an out clause. So if something bad happens where I'm losing money every month, and the year goes by and I'm losing money and I need to get out, I say, hey, I'll give you a 60-day notice, and then I'll give you a qualified tenant that's paying the same amount as rent, and I'm paying you now. So,
Yeah.
you should have like an out clause like that in your agreement with the owner. But if you get
Mhm.
it, a strategy you can use maybe in upcoming negotiations with your landlords is, hey, this is working great. I want to do this for 4 years. Let's do a 4-year lease, 3% increase with an out clause,
Yeah.
if that comes down to it. So that's
Yeah, definitely
the
gonna take you up on
I
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
same thing with rent to own. I gave him a 3% increase on the price every year. So I got a 7-year rent to own, and every year I increase his price by 3% on what I would pay him. So he was happy. He was getting his appreciation on rent, on equity. So the owner was like, "This is great," and because the main thing with rent to own is owners don't want to be locked in, for so long on the same price, same rent. So if you
Yeah.
increase it, they're going to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I
True.
love that. Definitely gonna be using that strategy as we reach out
Mhm.
to do these rent to own
Yeah.
Airbnbs.
And
Right.
that's
Yeah,
yeah.
the arbitrage would work as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's awesome. So, yeah, well, just to wrap it up here. So, what would you say to someone that is maybe just starting out, trying to get their first Airbnb, and maybe they've been trying, they've been talking to landlords, making offers, but nobody wants to move forward with them. How would you encourage that person, not giving up, and how would what would you recommend they do today?
Yeah, so first of all, I would say, definitely don't give up. All you need to do is get to that first yes. I mean, we got started, people were telling us no because we didn't have a track record, right? And so one thing I learned early on as an investor is that usually it take about 20 no's to get that yes, right? But that one yes is all you really need. And so we have this strategy. We say go for the no, because the quicker we get that next no, we know we're one step closer to that yes. So I would tell somebody getting started, like, don't give up, have also then find a mentor, somebody that could help you, such as Russell, to help you kind of navigate, what to say, what to do. You definitely need to have that plan in place because you can also put your foot in your mouth or, you get out there and now you don't know what to do. So you definitely need help. And so, Russell, you great for helping people walk through and understand that.
For
And
sure.
and then from there, it's learning it, learning the business, right? And so there's a lot of great resources out there for that as well.
I would also say, as far as the process was kind of long, like when we first got our first arbitrage, it was relational, so we met and we did lunch and we did coffee and
You
it just,
showed up at the meetings.
yeah, it didn't happen overnight. So we didn't get the right away yes. Like, you want to have somebody say yes the same day you talk to them. It,
Right.
it took a period of time, it took about 3-month period. But after that, it sped up, it took off, so
Yeah.
just, if you're courting somebody and you developing a relationship because you went to some of these meetings, keep going, keep talking, keeping the conversation going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. It's time to get out of the house, right? And back into face-to-face meetings and
Yeah.
building relationships, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think I need to start doing that too, because I don't leave the house.
Well, that's because you're the man now. You don't have to
Yeah.
be that.
No, I definitely, you guys encouraged me to start going back to the meeting. Like I haven't gone to any real estate meetings out here in Florida, but I
Mhm.
should, you guys encouraged me to do that. So I thank you guys for that. I need to start going and meeting people and, building that rapport and telling them what I do. And hopefully I start getting some Airbnbs out here, which I haven't
Yeah,
even started marketing for any at all yet. So
yeah. We actually got a couple that we're going to be potentially getting in Florida as our sales to co-host. She's an
awesome.
investor here. She lives in California, but she invests in Illinois, and she have a couple down in Florida. We're bringing
Perfect.
a couple of her properties here, and then she already said, "I got a couple in Florida. I might want you guys to host." So,
That's awesome. So all the cash flow you're making from all these Airbnbs, what do you do? Are you reinvesting it? Like what's the plan as far as what are you gonna do with, are you gonna start purchasing your own, buying property, turning them to Airbnbs, or what's the plan?
Yeah, both of those. So we're reinvesting, you know, we're saving that cash flow because you never know if you might have a down month or something. So
Yeah.
we're not spending it yet. We're not at that level. And then we want to start buying our own as
Okay.
well. So that's part of it, our plans as well.
That's awesome. And you guys have your own Airbnb program you guys are coming out with. If you want to talk a little bit about that, you know, are you guys have a like an online program or a mentorship? How does that work?
Yeah, so we are, you know, since we've been doing this, we have so many people asking, they want to learn how to do it. And so we're developing a course right now as we speak that we'll be launching in around February, March timeframe. And with that course, we're going to be teaching them kind of how we talk through with you from step A to Z, you know, how to find, how to acquire the properties. Once you get them, how do you go about doing design, setup, and then managing. Uh, so we'll be teaching everything from A to Z to day. And then also we'll be teaching how to co-host. Same thing. How do you approach an investor to want to manage their property and be able to secure that 20% management fee from them. So it's going to be all from A to Z, very comprehensive, and, you know, and then we'll mentor as well and kind of walk alongside those folks as well.
Awesome. And how do people reach out to you if they want more information?
Yeah. So we have a website. It's www.lc as in cat, P as in Peter, host with an S, so lcphosts.com. And then you can also reach us by email at info, I-N-F-O, at lcphosts with an S.com.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys' time, man. I'm sure this interview here is gonna encourage a lot of people that maybe are struggling and inspire people to get out there. You guys inspired me to get out of the house. So I appreciate you guys. Any last words?
No, Russell, just thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to come again and to speak to your tribe. And thank you for all you do with the Kingdom REI Academy. I mean, I'm a member, we're members,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
you know, you've
appreciate
been a mentor to us
Yes.
throughout the years. And so we really appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, appreciate you guys and God bless. I'll be praying for you guys' success to get through this winter and into the summertime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, God bless you guys.
God
Wish you
bless you
well.
too. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell. You take care.
Take care. Bye.